Okay, so we are going to use this laser cutter here to cut out outlines for pumpkins that are eventually going to be painted at a festival we're doing. And so to do that, first we need to get our image. We already have one that we liked earlier, but there's a couple problems with it. So first we're going to drag it into where we want it, which is Corel. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then we're going to make it the size we want it. But because it is an image, it's always going to engrave it. It wants to engrave it because it's a different line weight. So we have to change that. So also we have this here that if we're going to cut it, it would just cut off the stem. So we have to get rid of that line there. So we are going to select it, and we're going to go to Trace Bitmap. We're going to do Center Line Trace, Line Drawing. And it's going to look like that. Everything looks okay, so we're going to click OK. Move to the side. Now this is one, and we're going to want to make that. We don't need this anymore, so we can just delete it. We're going to move this to where we want it. And we want to make this hairline. Because that's just saying it's going to cut all the way through whatever material we're going to cut it out of, which will be plywood. Then we're going to zoom in and see all these little lines here. We're going to delete some of them so it looks the way we want it to. So we're going to select a point. We're going to select a point. I want to zoom in a little bit. So we have selected the point that we want to delete. So we're just going to put it here, and it has a little blue arrow instead of the hollow white one. We're just going to click delete. We don't want this line. So we're going to click delete. This one either. And click delete. We don't want to couple of these lines, so we're just going to select them all and click delete. Now we have some more we need to do, so we're going to go over here and zoom in. So we're done with that section, but there's just this one little bit at the bottom that we need to work with. And we're just going to move down. Now that area is gone too, so it's not going to cut there. So all we have is just the basic outline of the pumpkin. So we're going to zoom out. And we're just going to click the pointer. And so we have this, and then we can adjust the size we want, but now it's just going to cut the outline. And you can multiply it, so we're going to mass produce them, so that way they do it quickly. And we're just going to, and so it'll end up looking like this.
So now we're going to print out the design that we've made. So we're going to go File and Print. And it already looks okay, but we need to go to Preferences. And we need to make sure that it's set to vector because we just want to cut the image out. If we wanted to engrave it, we'd do raster, and if we wanted to do both, we'd do combine. So these are the settings for the cutting part. And usually we'd have the power up to 45, but if we're testing it, we have it on 0. And then we need the resolution at 400, and we need to make sure the piece size is at the proportions of the laser cutter, which is 24 inches wide and 12 inches tall. And so we're going to do OK and print. And then we're going to go over here. And before we actually print it, we need to make sure a few of the settings are on. So we need to fix the X and Y axis first. So we turned the X and Y off, and now we're going to move this a quarter of an inch in and move it a quarter of an inch in on the other side. So we can tell where the little red dot is, and that's where it's gonna cut. So now we have the X and Y on, we're gonna hit go, and that's gonna set it. And now we need to do the focus. So we're gonna hit focus and put this little magnetic thing down. And we need it so that the cardboard is touching just the tip of that. So we're gonna hit the up arrow over here until it is like barely touching, like so it's loose. So we need it a little bit more. And there. And so that just makes sure the laser will be able to cut it so it's at the right closeness. And now we're ready to print it pretty much. Okay, so now we're gonna close the top and start printing the image we've made. So we're just gonna hit go, and that should take the image and start cutting it out. So we're going to stop after one pumpkin and just hit reset. So now if we wait a second, we can open it and take this out. And we didn't print it all the way this time, but it has the outline of the pumpkin so that we can tell where we are going to print it when we do.